Lindenwood head coach Jed Stugart. Lions already finished the season. They topped McKendree 63-35, 7-3 overall. Coach, just what general thoughts? First year Division I, first year of OVC to finish with a 7-3 record.
Well, I think it's monumental for this senior class to, they got thrown a curveball back in February, and I guess we all did a little bit. And so, when you didn't have a lot of time, you don't really have a year to get ready for this. And so, as a coaching staff, I think you go, okay, let's see how how are we going to measure up? We know we had a predominantly Division II football team. We had some FCS guys intermixed in there a little bit from who we've been able to recruit, but we didn't have a team full of Division I guys. And so, I think, like I told our team in our final team meeting the other day, I don't think they really realize what they've accomplished. And there are going to be our recruiting competitors and people, because we already hear it. People are going to discredit some of their, maybe with the schedule, and maybe we didn't play everybody Division I. We get that. We speak to it. But at the end of the day, like I told them, I said, take those out of it. You had a winning record against Division I football teams. And I think I said, that's a monumental accomplishment to come in the first year in really a quick circumstance, with a lot of adversity, coming from behind in a lot of games. Every Division I game, we were the underdog. And in some cases we were 3 touchdown underdogs, and they mustered out, a 7-3 season in the midst of that, and 4-3 against Division I. And they're going to look back and really realize someday just how, when history looks back at Lindenwood football and the first year of Division I, to come off with a winning record. And now we take that momentum into recruiting. We're really excited about recruiting. We're really excited about the commitments we have. I think, we knew that selling Lindenwood, selling the location, the facilities, the football program, and now to end up where recruits are seeing that we've been successful starting off, has given us even more ammunition that people can see that, hey, we're headed the right direction. And now we do have a year, we've been on top of recruiting now to where we can catch up quickly. And I'm very optimistic on how quickly we can catch up and continue that momentum into this off season, and into next year.
What were the players' emotions like in the locker room? You win, you're happy, but there probably may have been some, hey, this is it too. A person like Cade Brister, who's been around forever, that it was like their last game. What was that emotion like?
Yeah, there was a lot of emotions. I think, just the fact that we things seem so final. The last 2 or 3 years, we were ready to have a meeting for playoff selection in the season. Even though it was senior day, we were still playing. And this week we knew it was the final, and we took advantage of that last week, and we celebrated a lot. Really celebrated our seniors all last week. Had different guys speaking and doing cool things to really honor our seniors, but you look at guys like Cade and Lloyd Lockett and Peyton Rose and Blake Rogenhofer, and a lot of our seniors in this class. Some of them have been with me the entire time when we came to Lindenwood from day one. And that made it a harder senior day, because, these guys were part of that transition from what we took over to turn the program into a playoff team, and then to make this move up. It was a lot more, there's a lot more emotions to that, because of these guys, and we use that as an example. We had that first recruiting class that we recruited when I got here, we had to sell them the vision of, hey, I know we're not very good right now. I mean, I know but if you believe in us, you believe in this culture, and trust us, and come in here and we can win a conference championship, we can go to the playoffs. And to have Cade and some of those guys, Drew Sears, I think about, even though he wasn't here this year, but that first class that bought into that, redshirted, we were able to kind of change the culture around, and then to see them be a part of that transition. And I'm forever grateful that those guys trusted us 6 or 7 years ago, when we got here. And now that's given us a great foundation onto this new era. And now we're giving that same message to our incoming recruits that, hey, this is what happened last time. Now we're going into a new era. Come be a part of something monumental and historic. And I think that's resonating a lot with a lot of our recruits.
Was there something that surprised you about this year? Maybe it's something you weren't expecting, or if your team outperformed a certain expectation that you had going into the year?
Well, I think, one of the things we believe in complete transparency with our team. I don't go out there every day and try to convince them of something they're not. I think one of the things I think we did really well, because as a coaching staff in our room, when this, the first staff meeting we had after the announcement that we're moving up to Division I, our kids were fired up and excited about it. Hey, we're playing D1. As a coaching staff, you're sitting here and going, okay, this is a whole different ballgame, boys. So, we identified immediately the things that we've got to get better quicker. We got to coach better, but it's all about, we know it's the Jimmies and the Joes, right? Not the X's and O's. So X's and O's play a part in that, but you got to have the right players. And so, I think, yes, I think the fact that, you always look at a schedule and you go, okay, you look at a team like Central Arkansas and say, when we got our schedule and you're looking through and saying, okay, man, this is going to be a tough game. How do you think we can do? Next game, how do you think we can do? And then, you look at some of those teams where you go, okay, can we be competitive against this team? Well, for them to pull off some upsets, in games that we were still completely outmatched in. I think the reality is you look over on the other sideline and guys are bigger, stronger, and faster. There's no doubt. That's why I kept telling these players, like, even what teams might see like a team's record, and some people might disparage that and say, well, they beat a team with this record. The reality is those teams still were bigger, stronger, and faster than the majority of our team. And these kids, because of the culture and because they were playing so much for each other and never got discouraged in those games, they were able to creep back in, or they were able to pull off. That's what's probably made this one of the most special years in my career. I've got to coach national championship games. I've got to be a part of so many conference championships, but this team is really special in the fact that they pulled off some things that nobody thought they'd be able to pull off. And that's why I'm a little bit, I usually don't really pay much attention to what people say, but I'm going to have their back on some of this stuff too, because if anybody wants to disparage what our football team did this year, and it's not about us coaches, it's about our players. It's a pretty cool thing. It's a pretty monumental thing that we're very proud of because, like I said, it was these guys never stopped believing down to every last snap, and I know everybody. I just think of our defense. We knew we were going to struggle on defense this year. There's no doubt. We lost 9 starters from the year before, an All-American linebacker, 2-time All-American linebacker. We have guys that aren't even shaving yet, playing linebacker in places in some spots. And then we find out we're moving Division I. Well, that compounded. We didn't have enough time to just go bring all these guys in. So the job that our coaches did defensively to say, okay, we're struggling a little bit defensively, but then so we focused on things like the red zone. People might run up and down the field on us, but man, our defense really, for the most part, looking at statistically, our guys did a very good job defensively in the red zone. They made plays in the red zone. We were able to hold people to field goals. And so that's why I always look at scoring defense, not really all the other stats. Those are little victories within that. Maybe that's why we're so proud of this team, because they overcame things that we thought were going to be really tough challenges for us. And one of those was defense. We knew we had a pretty explosive offense here. We have a lot of veterans on offense. We've got an incredible quarterback that we knew we could score some points. So great team effort, great coaching this year of going into games, knowing what we have to take advantage of and what we have to kind of work through, and to see all that game plan come together and muster out these wins. It's a monumental year.
Last question. Outside of recruiting the best possible talent out there, What's one or two things that are the most important for you all to do between now and the start of next season?
Kyle, it's stay in our lane. We talked about there are some things that have to change when you move up from a recruiting standpoint, but nothing about our program is going to change when it comes to culture. Things that we believe that make our team successful. And so, yeah, we've got to change with the times a little bit on certain things with rules but we're getting different type guys in the building now that we've not been able to get in the building because of the Division I box. And now I'm excited because we've got that box to check now. And so I think, but when it comes to, we don't try to copycat what everybody else is doing. We have a philosophy, and we're going to stay in our lane and not get distracted by what others do. And be consistent that way, because we're always that's one thing, integrity, culture, recruiting the right type of people into our program is always going to be the priority, because I do believe culture wins. And and that's where we're going to keep our focus. And I think the only changes are going to be, I'm excited that some of these kids, I see some of our commitments where we've been able to win on against some really reputable programs across the country. Already gives me excitement that they're seeing the excitement. They're seeing how great this place is. And to get some yeses against some pretty reputable programs out there, it gives me a lot of encouragement that recruiting is going to be a very positive thing around here, especially now that we've got a D1 box to check.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the first great season in the OVC, and hope for many more.
Thanks, Kyle. I've always enjoyed this year being on with y'all, and look forward to seeing you down the road here.